We're here this morning at Emu Creek, just outside of Bendigo for the 2013 Bendigo Grand Prix, incorporating the Victorian Open Road Cycling Championships. We've been brought here by Human Isa Home Hardware and also Andy's Earth Movers, our major sponsors. Now this morning we're starting with the women's time trial, the first event of a big 3 days coming up here around Bendigo, and looking forward to seeing how Felicity Wardlaw, last year's champion in the time trial, goes first up this morning.
The ITT course was a 24.5k undulating course. The conditions are pretty benign, not much wind, but it was quite humid, so still quite challenging. The key thing for a course like this is pacing and getting that right. And I learned from last year not to go out too hard, and look, as you come home pretty exhausted. So yeah, the plan was to conserve a little bit of energy on the first 5k and then start to wind it up towards the end, and hoping that would get me the win. And I'm pretty happy to be able to go quite a bit quicker than last year. I've made some improvements to my bike, to my position. I've also come off a very good break from racing the NRS series since Canberra, so a good 8 weeks of low intensity riding. So now this was pretty much the starting point for me to build up to nationals, so it's a really good start. 2 in a row, it just sounds a bit greedy, doesn't it? But I came here wanting to take the win, and that was that, and I did that, and I'm more than happy with how I rode, and so stoked, yeah, pretty happy.
Now we head to the men's race in the men's time trial. A couple of great names taking part in this afternoon's event. Mark Jamieson will be definitely one of the big contenders. Nicholas Squilari from the Geelong Cycling Club will be looking to try and get further up on the podium after finishing third last year. And a couple of the boys from the Blackburn Cycling Club, Tyler Sporrell, Jason Spencer and Trevor Spencer, also be in the finish.
On the downhill bit, it was sort of a cross tailwind, and I looked up at the guy in front of me, and I had maybe 20 seconds on him in the first 5Ks, so I knew I was going out way too hard. We turned left onto Axe Creek Road, where it starts undulating, and we had a bit of a tailwind. We all looked about a minute maybe 10 apart, so it was reasonably close. I got about 4Ks from the end, and I started just to crack, and had nothing left, doing 60, 65 by the end. And well, it's a hard course to do, especially when there's wind.
I think having ridden this course before was a big benefit, and I had probably one of the best Minutemen in front of me in Tom Leaper. Once I knew I had Tom, it was just a matter of bringing him in and then just keeping the foot on the gas. It was a course that, if you had course knowledge, it was worth, I would say, at least 20 seconds. It was definitely a race that I was aiming for from the beginning of the year. Plotted out the good half a dozen races that were goal races for me, and this is definitely up there with nationals and the Tour of Bright time trials. So I mean, I've in all the other state opens, I've had a second, I've had thirds, I've had fourths, I've hit every other result except for the first. So to time it with the state title, I couldn't be happier.
Here we are this morning for day 2 of the championships. We're in Spring Gully for the women's road race. A real quality field has been assembled for the 79-kilometre journey. It's a 15.8 kilometre circuit. We've got a rolling start for 1.1 kilometres before we go out onto the nice big hill in Spring Gully to start this great race. Some names to watch out this morning: Nicole Whitburn, a great road cyclist. Kate Finnegan, the local flavour, and she'll be wanting to go one step better in the road race after finishing second last year. And we can't discount defending champion Jo Hogan from the St Kilda Cycling Club. She'll be pretty tough to beat in today's women's road race.
My teammate Kate Finnegan attacked. I was like, oh, I'll counter, see if I can get someone to come with me, kind of take the pressure off her. And I had a bit of a gap. I was on my own. I was like, oh, well, I'll just keep going. And yeah, it went on for a fair bit longer than I was expecting it to, that's for sure. Yeah, I was a little bit nervous. I was sort of, maybe I've got it. I wasn't expecting to, but then I sort of started pulling out again. I was like, oh, maybe I've got a chance. Yeah. Then yeah, just got caught in the last couple of 100 metres.
Coming at 3k to go, the gap was still 50 seconds, so I was thinking that we were going to sprint for second. And then when we could see Loretta on the climb, it was obvious that we were going to get her. So she did amazing to stay out there for probably 76 kilometres and 20 metres, and that's bike racing, I guess, along with a lot of other sports. I got third last year, which I was pretty happy with, and then actually I won the criterium, which is on tomorrow, so I'll have to see how I go in
Fantastic.
that as
well. So defending that and current state in the road.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
You've got to be very proud of yourself, I would think.
I'm pleased.
Yeah, good for you, Ben. All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
Now we turn our attentions to the men race, 142 kilometres, 9 laps of the 15.8 kilometre circuit. Some big names in the event: Shannon Johnson, who's performed extremely well for Charter Mason Drapac in the National Road Series, and Reece Pollock, a former Melbourne and Warrnambool Cycling Classic winner. Looking forward to seeing how this one will unfold.
On their way.
As we see the cyclists start rolling off into their big journey this afternoon in Spring Gully. A little bit of wind, not too much. Will it play a bit of havoc? We'll wait and see later in the race. Overcast conditions. They'll meet a few undulations before they hit the descent, before they get into the main part of Spring Gully, around the general store where the sprint will be. There'll be 7 sprints throughout the day before they descend on that big hill climb once again. We'll have 7 hill climbs to contend with in this 142 kilometre journey.
I had my little brother Trevor was in the break all day from the first lap, so didn't have to do any chasing, which made it easier for me. And I think they got caught with maybe 4 laps to go, and then our move went with about 2.5 laps to go. Mark attacked and I followed him, so I knew he was very strong. And Trent Morey came with us as well, and yeah, worked really well together. Just worked as hard as we could. Managed to get the gap out to I think about 1.5 minutes going to the last lap. And 10k to go, then the fun game started and we started attacking each other. Trent attacked and he got a bit of a gap, and then I managed to jump away from Jamison, and it was me and Trent, and then Jamison got back to us, attacked us, and then he was away solo for about 5k. It was me and Trent chasing him, and we caught him with about 3k to go. It was a bit of a climb, and I just gave it everything up that hill and managed to get a small gap and sort of tucked down for the descent, and then Jamo was nearly on me with 1k to go, and it starts to kick up again to the finish, and just gave it 100%. I was just in a world of pain, but yeah, managed to hold on. It was very hard. I think that's probably my biggest win. I'm at the moment very happy, and something that no one can take away from me. So pretty cool to win a state title. Yeah.
Here we are for the final day of the Bendigo Grand Prix Victorian Open Road Cycling Championships. The sun is out, a little bit of wind here in the CBD of Bendigo, but we've got a great criterium coming up this afternoon. There's been a real carnival atmosphere here this morning. We've had human-powered vehicles, we've had the juniors do their criterium from the Bendigo Cycling Club, and as you can see in here, joining us also is a Bendigo Highland Band. Now let's head to the final women's event of the weekend. It's the Coates Hire Women's Criterium, a 25.5 kilometre criterium. It's 30 laps of an 850 metre circuit, 11 sprints, so expecting some fast racing. Some of the names we're going to see at the finishing line: Lisa Hanley, Kate Finnegan, Nicole Whitburn, who's trying to take out overall honours in the Bendigo Grand Prix for 2013. The women riders set a moderate pace early in the criterium. Before the halfway mark, we've seen Lisa Hanley make a solo breakaway. She probably had a 20-second advantage on her nearest rivals. They regrouped 5 laps later, where they stayed as a bunch until the final lap to set up an exciting sprint finish, which saw Beth Duray make a lunging last-ditch effort to try and get the win, taking the criterium win over Loretta Hanson and Kate Finnegan, the local rider, finishing 3rd. The overall Bendigo Grand Prix was taken out by Nicole Whitburn after 3 fantastic days of cycling in the time trial, road race and today's criterium. Congratulations to Beth and Nicole on their fantastic wins. It now leads us into the final race of the weekend, the men's criterium.
And they're on their way for the final event.
The riders set a cracking pace from the start, with a number of attacks launched early, with one of the surprising ones coming from Mark Jamison. Was it too early in the race? It was only a few laps later when the peloton pulled Mark in. Halfway through the race, a group of 8 formed off the front. The group rode strongly, and before long they had the best part of a lap lead on the peloton. Local rider Chris Hamilton was strong in the sprints, as was Jason Lowndes and Shannon Johnson. Showcasing his motorcycle handling skills, Shannon Johnson come around the final bend to cross the line with a 5 metre lead on his nearest rivals. The sprint come down to a finish for second and third, with Brendan Schultz taking second and Jason Lowndes taking third position on the podium. After a successful season with the Charter Mason Drapac development team, Shannon was really happy with his win, with his family on the sidelines cheering him on.
I was pretty isolated today. All my teammates were back in the main bunch, and everyone knew they had to pretty much sit on my wheel towards the end of the race. Obviously, when you've got that sort of target on your back, you've got a lot of pressure and have to shuttle the brakes down and chase as much as you can. And my final sprint wasn't a true sprint. It was more just a big mash of the gear, and if someone was going to come and pass me, you know, so be it, but fortunately I had enough horsepower in the legs.
He's the best racer we've ever seen, and he's a good champion.
Oh, thanks.
The overall winner of the Bendigo Grand Prix was Jason Spencer. So there we have it. After a big 3 days of competition, time trials, road racing and criteriums, we've crowned new championships. I hope you have enjoyed it as much as we have.